Let's take a look at stories making headlines on Nigerian newspapers this morning. We've got a host of them as usual, and starting off with the Leadership newspaper. The biggest story there is on the integrated payment system, with the federal government placating, well, that's the word the Leadership uses. FG placates, lecturers takes varsities, others off eyepiece. Institutions can now handle staff remunerations. We're not excited. We'll wait for confirmation. That's according to ASU, the Academic Staff Union of Universities. And in the meantime, 686 civil servant salaries are stopped over unverified records. There's a picture story there on the front page of the Leadership, talking about bulldozers pulling down the Rivers State House of Assembly complex on Wednesday. We'll talk at length on the situation in Rivers State again on the show today. But then there are other stories still making headlines. That is, drone attack in Kaduna State. We are not part of the 33 billion naira suit filed against the federal government. Residents of the affected Tudumbere community in Kaduna State speak. The CJN Kayode Ariwola addresses judges, saying, do not allow anyone influence your judgments. Arsonists burn Kano Council Secretariat, destroy vehicles. And on the Rivers crisis, 2 defected lawmakers now undecided. And next is This Day newspaper. Up above the masthead, Sanwo-Olu, Governor of Lagos State, presents 2.2 trillion naira 2024 appropriation bill to the State House of Assembly. On climate change, nearly 200 countries agree historic deal to reduce fossil fuel consumption. That's in the fallout of the COP28 summit that was held in Dubai. And with 4 soldiers killed, 2 Koreans kidnapped, security concerns mount in Rivers State. Oil production may be impacted if crisis persists. And Kyo Briggs warns that situation may engulf Nigeria as well as the president. In the meantime, Governor Fubara sets control in Rivers. This day says, present 2024 budget to 4-member assembly. Demolishes bombed legislative complex for reconstruction. FG denies involvement in state's political crisis. 27 defector lawmakers ousted by legislature. And reactions, Femi Falana, SAN, says INEC is required to conduct fresh elections. Tinubu approves leadership changes in aviation and aerospace development, parastatals. We go to First News now. Still on the river situation, Governor Fubara goes for broke, tackles 27 pro-Wike lawmakers, orders demolition of Assembly complex in early morning operation. The governor also congratulates Wike at 56 amid Rivers crisis and, of course, amid controversies regarding their fractured relationship between the predecessor of Governor Fubara, Nyesom Wike, who is now minister. Finally, Ondo Assembly declares Aiyedatiwa acting governor. Obasanjo offers to testify against Olu Agunloye, former minister, in $2.3 billion Mambila arbitration as EFCC declares ex-power minister wanted. APC may be kicked out of power in 2027, former national vice chair warns. And cash scarcity is still, pervading the air, so to speak. 3.4 trillion naira in circulation, CBN insists. But then we wait to see how that translates to regular Nigerians. Okay, and let's go on now to the Punch newspaper. Rivers State still in the news, making the biggest headline so far as the state demolishes assembly. Pro-Fubara speaker declares defectors seats vacant. Let's quickly go to other stories on the front page of the Punch. NLC rejects TCN privatization, demands policy reversal. Military raises 8-man panel. Villagers disown 33 billion naira suit in the aftermath of the Kaduna bombing. NNPCL not transparent on subsidy dollar revenues. That's according to the World Bank. There's a sad story there of gunmen killing woman, abducting 7 on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, precisely around Fidiwo. This occurred on Wednesday. And Tinubu sacks 5 aviation agencies heads suspends NCAA boss. The Nation is next. Firms to lose tariff waivers on imported items. 3 killed, 2 banks robbed in Ikere-Ekiti. Tinubu fires heads of FAAN, NAMA, as well as other agencies. Assembly complex demolition sinks rivers deeper into crisis. Construction of new ports, dredging of old ones coming. That's according to Minister Oyetola. And finally with me is this Nigeria. Condemnations trailing demolition of Rivers Assembly Complex. It's an act of treason, brigandage. That's according to lawyers and other parties reacting to the demolition exercise of the Rivers government. Legislators can reconvene, sit anywhere. That's another reaction coming there. Nigeria to earn over 11 trillion naira from fuel subsidy savings by the year 2025, says the World Bank. Don't scrap AMCON due to 4.3 trillion naira unrecovered loans, says Senate. Cameroonian insurgents raise houses in Cross River community. All right, let's check out what Ibrahim has from his end.
Well, the first with me here is Nigerian Tribune with the first headline here. Rivers legal issues arise as government demolishes assembly complex. The writers read, sitting venue quorum on front burner as 4 members witness Fubara deliver budget proposal in government house. Speaker declares seats of 27 lawmakers vacant. PDP rides INEC, demands fresh elections into vacant assembly seats. Why we demolished assembly complex, Rivers government. INEC's failure to prosecute electoral offenders worrisome. That's according to the NBA. ECOWAS Parliament gives conditions to Niger military junta. That's on page 25. Ekiti government appoints 162 new aides. 3 feared dead as armed robbers attack banks in Ekiti. Ondo Assembly declares Aida Tuwa acting governor. NLC rejects proposed plan to restructure TCN, says it portends great danger. And above the nameplate, Sanwo-Olu presents 2.2 trillion naira budget of renewal. A Federal Executive Council exempts tertiary institutions from IPPIS. OK's 6 billion naira contract awards under aviation. Tinubu swears in new ICPC PSC chairman, removes FAN and NAMA bosses. That's it. That's about it with Nigerian Tribune. Next is Salient Times. Why we demolished Rivers Assembly Complex. That's the government. Fubara presents 2024 budgets to 5 lawmakers at Government House. Federal government has no involvement in Rivers crisis, says Minister. 3 killed as robbers attack banks in Ekiti. Then below the nameplate, police arraign Egba High Chief, others for stealing roofing sheets, planks. Ondo Assembly declares Aida Tiwa acting governor. Alleged $2.3 billion fraud. I'm ready to testify in court, Obasanjo informs federal government. And above the nameplate, Naira Marley demands apology from Iyabo Ojo for defamation, threatens to sue for 500 million naira as damages. 2 arraigned for stabbing neighbor's eyes with broken plate in Ondo. At last, Federal Executive Council takes universities, polytechnics, colleges of education off IPPIS. The Guardian newspaper is next. National statistics. Population outgrows economy amid rising dependence. Misery. Nigerian numbers. We can see the infographics here talking about the stock of CBN. 26 trillion, CBN overdraft to federal government, 26 trillion naira. Debt service for revenue ratio is 101.5%. And traditional contraceptives among females in relationship amounts to 3.6%, talking about the path to future growth. You can grab a copy and read up on that. Police neutralize 13 kidnappers, rescue 263 victims in Katsina. Tinubu sacks heads of aviation agencies. FEC approves 6.32 billion naira contracts. Unions hail federal government's exemption of universities police, others from IPPIS. Fubara bears fangs, demolishes assembly complex, presents 2024 budget to 4 lawmakers. No going back on concession of international airports, Kiyamo insists. And then 3 feared dead in Ekiti bank robbery. That's about it for the Guardian newspaper. Next is Blueprint. The screaming headline here, Tinubu's economic reforms making positive impact, but that's the World Bank says unsustainable spending on subsidies fueled economic imbalances. You can read that up on page 6. Tinubu sacks FAN, NIMET, NCAT, others buses, announces replacement. Jitters as WHO confirms 25 new COVID-19 cases in Nigeria. That's on page 6. It calls for concern. A mother, 9-day-old baby killed in Ondo, building collapse. Rivers crisis, state government will build assembly complex. That's according to the commissioner. Below the paper here, at last, federal government removes tertiary institutions from IPPIS. CBN assures public of adequate cash supply. And CJN to judges always consult laws, rules before writing judgment. And on the bottom strip, will end insurgency, terrorism simultaneously, minister reassures. CS 84 urges federal government to recruit, motivate security personnel. You can read that up on page 6 of the Blueprint newspaper. Next is Daily Independent. It's time Nigeria moved from reforms to results. That's World Bank says it must ensure coordinated fiscal, monetary policy actions. Enugu government inaugurates 10 small claims courts. That's on page 6. We have not made progress. Life is difficult. APC chieftain tells leaders, alerts on rebellion against party in 2027. Federal government assures aircraft leasing companies guarantee of assets. And don't tarnish image of judiciary. CGN warns federal high court judges. Labor kicks against planned restructuring of TCN. ASU upbeat as federal government as FEC okays exits of varsities, polytechnics from IPPIS. Tinubu sacks FAN, NAMA, other MDs announces replacement. And on the bottom strip, PDP commences plan to declare 25 Rivers Assembly seats vacant. And above the nameplate, Rivers Speaker declares seats of 25 defected lawmakers vacant, while we demolished Rivers Assembly Complex, etc. Crude oil production, price benchmark for 2024 budget realistic. That's according to the NNPC, and pledges to maintain level of dividends projected in MTEF. Next is Nigeria News Direct. Import restrictions is the kicker, and the headline reads, Nigeria lost over $300 million to tax evasion. World Bank recommends reduction of import tariffs to reduce cost of doing business, poverty level. Applauds fiscal reforms, predicts decline in inflation by H1 2024. High interest rate, non-collateral interventions, others hindering recovery of 4.7 trillion debt, 4.7 trillion naira debt. That's according to AMCON. And then above the masthead, your state flags off disbursement of 1 billion naira safer loan to farmers. Tertiary institutions get FEC nod for financial recruitment autonomy. Page 9, budget renewal, Sanwo-Olu earmarks 199 billion naira for education technology sector. And then Rivers crisis, Speaker declares 27 seats vacant, receives 2024 budget alongside 4 assembly members. Penultimate newspaper with me here is the Business Day. APC losing war against poverty. And the 14 million naira Nigerians became poor in 2023. World Bank, we're on track to stabilize economy, says Edu. Nigeria closer to 2024 financial inclusion target, but gaps persist. Federal government in talks with multinationals to curb exits. Corporate leaders make case for more female leadership. That's all about it for the Business Day newspaper. And last but not least is the Daily Trust with the screaming headline, Stop Subsidy Payment. increase petrol price to 750 naira per litre. World Bank tells federal government. I'm not sure whether Nigerians will be happy to hear that. And the one's increase in VAT taxes for SMEs. Advice on fuel price hike insensitive. Dons. Subsidy removal hasn't brought expected gains in oil revenues. OAGF. Fuel selling above 700 naira in Northeast. Fubara presents budgets to 4 lawmakers, demolishes Rivers Assembly. And on the bottom strip, NBA condemns kidney trade in Abuja, offers victims free services. Nasarawa begins contact trading as diphtheria kills 4 children. EFCC declares Obasanjo's ex-power minister wanted over 6 billion naira fraud. And then below the masthead, ASU excited as federal government exempt varsities, polytechnics, others from IPPIS. And then CBN suspends new request for intervention loans. That's about it for the newspaper headlines.
Right, Ibrahim, so many stories now. I must admit, though, that the collection of stories that you had,
That's right.
were also quite interesting. But of course, the biggest story at this time appears to be the crisis, which is worsening. If you take my word to the bank, the crisis in Rivers State. We don't have time to discuss it, but hopefully our analysts, at the next hour on the show today, will talk more about it, and then we both can also get to have a thing or two to say about the crisis. But there you have it. Now you can go and check out all the stories that captivate you from all these papers and get some more information.